series at area library branches.
They paid thousands of dollars to make sure their loved ones were proper burial, only to find out the bodies had been tossed into a mass grave. Their loved ones were cats and dogs. Today, you're going to meet the angry victims of a pet cemetery scandal, and you'll hear advice on how you can deal with the death of your pet.
I thought they were taking too many animals at one time. There was a conveyor belt that went into the incinerator, and there was just like big piles of dogs.
A closer look.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dawn Fratangelo, sitting in for Faith Daniels. If you own a pet, or if you know someone who does, you also know that a dog or cat can really become part of the family. In one candid survey, 9 out of 10 pet owners admitted they talk to their pets. 65% buy them Christmas presents. So when a pet dies, the owner can be emotionally devastated. Well, now the operators of a pet cemetery are accused of taking advantage of that grief.
I don't think she was ever cremated at all. I don't know what I have in the urn home. She was supposed to be buried with me when I died. Her ashes were supposed to be in the coffin with me. And now I don't know. No, I don't know who I am.
Karen Havistraw was devastated to hear the news. As many as 250,000 pets were thrown into mass graves like these. She fears her dog Pookie could have been one of them. She's among the thousands who paid to have their pets either buried or cremated here at the Long Island Pet Cemetery.
And where the contract called for returning ashes to the owner, they would send any available ashes to the owner, in most cases not the ashes of the owner's pet.
Stunned by the scandal, Joyce Walp and Michael Bachman exhumed their dog's grave. It, too, came up empty.
It was very emotional at the time that we buried her. It was an emotional thing for us. And digging up her remains was worse. And now that she's not even there, no words can't describe the feelings that I have.
The charges came as no surprise to this former employee who worked at the pet cemetery for 3 days in 1988.
I thought they were taking too many animals at one time. And there was a conveyor belt that went into the incinerator, and there was just like big piles of dogs. It was like 500 dogs, it's big, like mountains. And it would just be one guy having to throw them into the oven.
Do you think that owners got back the ashes of their particular pet?
No, I don't.
Furious pet owners have renamed the cemetery the Gates of Hell. And when the father and son owners went to a federal courthouse to answer charges of mail fraud, they were spat upon. When the news broke about that pet cemetery, many owners decided to have their pets exhumed. Joyce Walp and Michael Bachman were the first to do so. They are now suing for $10 million. This must make you angry. You spent $1,800 to have your dog buried. Are you angry?
Very angry and disappointed.
Why did you choose this particular pet cemetery? What did they say to you when you were choosing to have your dog buried?
Well, we had ridden past it many times before we had our animal put to sleep, and we stopped in and we walked around, and the people talked to us, and they were very nice, they were very convincing, they sounded very empathetic, and that was what we decided to do because it was such a nice place and everybody was just being really nice.
Now, did you have a funeral, or did you watch your dog being buried, or what you thought was your dog being buried?
We saw the beginnings of everything. You know, they set the dog up in the chapel for us. It was beautiful. There were flowers in the chapel, and they had the cat hurt in the casket and everything, and it was just set up really nice. And when we were done with our part of it, they closed the casket, and supposedly they brought her out to the burial site to be buried. You know, but we don't know what was in the casket, if anything, and we followed them right to the site and watched them lower the casket into the ground, and as a matter of fact, they gave me the shovel to put the first few shovelfuls of dirt on, and we did that, and then we left.
You had the body exhumed, or there was no body?
There was nothing.
What do you think happened to the body of your dog?
We have no idea, absolutely no idea. That was the last thing that we expected to find that day. I had a lot of things in my head the night before, that maybe they had thrown other animals in with her, but when it was empty, it was just really a shock.
You know, we pictured a lot of different scenarios, but like I had said originally when it happened, that we never expected it to be empty. You know, that was the...
What do you think the incentive was of the pet cemetery owners not to put your dog in that casket?
I have no idea. I have no idea how their minds worked, why they would do any of this. It's just beyond the imagination. I can't think like they do. I don't know what they had in their mind when they did any of these things. That was just so wrong.
You're suing now for $10 million. That's a lot of money. There are people out there who've lost a son or a daughter and haven't sued for that much money.
It's not the monetary gain. It's just to show people and make sure that this never happens again. And hopefully there will be some type of legislation passed, and really to use them as an example. And hope that this will never happen again in New York State or any other state.
Your dog's name was Ruffian.
Right.
And he must have meant a lot to you. She must have meant a lot to you to have a funeral and a burial.
Yes, she was a friend. She was part of the family. She was just everybody's friend. She didn't care who came in the house, and she accepted other animals, children. She was just really was a friend.
She was very special, and we just wanted to do something for her that, you know, for the happiness that she brought us.
Okay. I understand that you're receiving counseling over the loss of Ruffian. We're going to talk more about that later. But first, we're going to get some advice on finding a reputable pet cemetery when a closer look comes back.
She's like a sister to me, because when I'm alone, you know, she's always there. She likes to take care of us, so we like to take care of her, too.
Oil-free makeup from Clarion. Gorgeous matte finish, personalized to you. What makes you different can make you beautiful.
In simpler times, toothpaste came in tubes. Though easy to squeeze, they could get messy. Along came pipes. People liked the control, but missed the squeezing. Now, with much fanfare, Crest introduces Neat Squeeze. Easily squeezable with the control of a pump and a pullback feature that makes brushing a lot less messy and a lot more fun. The all-new Neat Squeeze from Crest.
A sink isn't the only place Woolite cleans safely and gently. Use the delicate cycle, and a lot of your hand washing won't need your hands.
Discover Butterball fresh from the deli cold cuts. Deli thin, deli fresh, deli delicious. Up to 98% fat-free and only 10 calories a slice. Fresh from the deli, from Butterball.
We're back now on a closer look. Only 3 states, California, Ohio, and New Jersey, currently regulate pet cemeteries. Dr. Wendell Morse believes there should be a single code of ethics governing all the pet cemeteries. Dr. Morse is the executive director of the International Association of Pet Cemeteries, and he's with us today from South Bend, Indiana. Dr. Morse, how can this happen? Shouldn't there be some kind of universal regulation pattern set up for these pet cemeteries?
Well, number one, people have to depend upon the honesty and the integrity of the people that are serving them. That was the first thing, apparently, that broke down. In the United States, we have somewhat of a code of ethics of our life, and I see no reason why people can't operate their businesses in such a manner that there's not going to be this kind of a deplorable incident occur.
How could you have prevented this? The Long Island Pet Cemetery in question was part of your association. If someone had called up wanting to bury their pet there and called your organization and asked if it was reputable, you probably would have told them yes.
No, I wouldn't have said anything about them being reputable. I would have said the members of our association in your area are as follows, and name them out. I'd name all of the pet cemeteries that are members of the association. But being a member does not mean that these people follow the standards of the association, nor does it mean that they follow the code of ethics. Although we assume that they will do just that they will follow the code of ethics of the organization and follow the standards.
Well, given that, we have two people here who spent $1,800 to have their dog buried. They found out that there was no body. They don't know what happened to the body of their dog. Given that, what options do pet owners have when they want to bury or cremate their pet?
Well, the standards of the association were developed in 1985, and at that time, the news of the standards went worldwide. Shortly thereafter, the association developed an approved pet cemetery program, which is a peer review of the pet cemeteries. We have a number of those cemeteries now in the United States that have become approved pet cemeteries following not only a total examination of their records, but also a peer review, a person visiting the cemetery and declaring them acceptable for this approved status.
Quickly, what options do pet owners have if they want to get rid of the body of their animal?
Okay, usually we feel certainly that the veterinarian must recommend to these people where they can go. They don't have to recommend a particular cemetery, but we feel strongly that veterinarians need to visit these pet cemeteries, and so that they have some knowledge of the type of situation they're going to. The pet owner should, upon visiting a pet cemetery, talk to the people. They should ask them if this cemetery is dedicated. They should ask them if there's an endowed care fund, and things of this nature.
Okay, Dr. Wendell Morse, thank you for being with us from South Bend, Indiana. When we come back, we're going to talk with an expert on pet grief.
She means the world to me. She's a very good cat. She's bad, but, you know, she's frisky and finicky. She's a good cat.
You wanna accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Tune in to the affirmative, the family channel, yes indeed.
Nobody captures life on the positive side like the Family Channel.
You wanna accentuate the positive, the family channel, yes indeed.
Talked with dirty whites?
Don't reach for the bleach, put it back on the shelf. This detergent wipes all by itself. Power bleach wiping in just one box. It works so hard they call it the Ox.
New Ultra Oxidol doesn't need a separate bleach. It has a new, more powerful bleaching system that gets socks this dirty brilliantly white. And the Ox loves color.
Don't reach for the bleach, grab a box of the Ox.
Detergent that whitens without separate bleach.
Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled in a dozen directions at once. Stress, poor diet, irregularity. Then I read about fiber therapy with new Metamucil wafers. They taste like cookies. So while the kids have their milk and cookies, I have my fiber.
New Metamucil fiber wafers. Just 2 little wafers have as much soluble fiber as this bowl full of apples. Extra fiber you may need to stay regular.
I still can't slow down, but at least now I can keep up.
New Metamucil fiber wafers. Fiber therapy for busy people.
After 7 days, the leading antiseptic couldn't heal this finger, but this one healed with #1 doctor-recommended Neosporin. Testing shows that Neosporin helps wounds heal faster. Neosporin, for faster healing, it's the one.
As sure as the world turns, someone was going to create the first rounded applicator tampon that's smooth, comfortable, flushable, and biodegradable. Trust Tampax tampons to think of it. New comfort-shaped Tampax tampons.
Stop or I'll shoot! I said stop or I'll shoot, stupid!
You have something to say, Ms. Kaufman?
No, Your Honor.
I'm pretty sure she said they shouldn't let that guy be a witness at a wedding. Oh, he's not innocent. If he didn't kill that guy, then he killed somebody else. What's the difference?
Mark Harmon. Oscar winner Marlee Matlin. Fridays this fall. Reasonable Doubts. The quality shows on NBC.
We're back now on a closer look. When a pet becomes part of the family, its death can be very traumatic. For some pet owners, the only way to deal with the grief is to go through a proper funeral. Pet owners can spend as much as $8,000 on one of these ceremonies. Well, burying a pet, as you just saw, is a very traumatic experience. Annette Kristoff recently buried her dog Pepper. She still hasn't gotten over all the pain of it. And someone who helps bereaved pet owners come to terms with all of this grief is Bonnie Mader. She's co-founder of the Pet Loss Hotline. Annette, we'll start with you. Why was it so important for you to bury Pepper?
Because he meant so much to me. He just wasn't a pet. He was a member of my family.
And you'd spent how many years with him?
15.
That's okay. It's okay.
15 and a half.
Bonnie, do you see this a lot? Someone like Annette who has spent 15 years with an animal and has probably been the most consistent thing in a person's life.
This is very common, and Annette just lost Pepper 3 weeks ago, so she's in acute grief right now. So I really feel for you, Annette. The average lifespan of a dog or a cat that goes to a pet cemetery or is euthanized at a veterinarian, or for the people that call the Pet Loss Support Hotline, is about 13 years. But it just never seems long enough.
I mean, this pain is very real. We're seeing this. I mean, it's fresh. Is it healthy to have that kind of bond with your animal?
Oh, absolutely. It's very healthy to have that kind of love and that relationship that you had, and that's what you're grieving, is that you're not going to get that specific relationship back. And that's very dramatic, and that's very real, and it's very painful. And it's something that we all want in our lives, is to feel that kind of love that an animal can provide for us, a companion animal.
What can someone like Annette do, I mean, to get over this? I mean, I'm sure that there is a grieving period. Does there have to be a grieving period and a healing process, just as if a human had died?
That's right, just as if a human had died. A significant human relationship. Not just any human relationship, but a significant relationship. And I did ask Annette before we came on if she felt supported in her grief, and she said that she did, that you do feel supported.
Yes, my family, friends, and even where I work. They all know me. They know I love animals. So it's, you know, it's easy to talk to them about it and get it out. I don't keep it inside.
And that's important, I'm sure, that because I'm sure that some people and people who are watching think that this kind of grief is silly, but it's real pain.
It's very real pain. We had one particular caller on our Pet Loss Support Hotline said that she had held her grief in for 3 years, and finally she could talk about it. It's very important to talk about it, as I'm sure Joyce and Michael know as well. Sure.
And Annette, do you plan on getting another animal?
No. I don't want to go through the pain again. I mean, I love Pepper. I was devoted to him while I had him, but I don't want to go through it again.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to have some advice for anyone who has just lost a pet, like Annette. So grab a pencil and paper. A little later in the program, we're going to have a couple of phone numbers for you.
He's like my son. He's my little son. They become part of the family after they've been with you for so long.
Hey there. I've heard you liquid detergents are doing a great job.
What are you doing in the laundry room?
Heard the news? I can help you guys clean better. Look at these smelly, dirty socks. I'll wash this sock in one of you liquid detergents, this one in the same detergent, plus Arm & Hammer baking soda. You know how well I clean and deodorize. Compare. My sock looks cleaner, smells fresher, too. For a cleaner, fresher wash, use me with your liquid. Half a cup is all you need.
Bravely, Fred has faced one too many healthy but boring breakfasts.
Enough! I want taste, indulgence. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats?
Fred.
Ooh, naughty frosting.
Ready. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats are good for you. There's fiber.
No.
And no salt.
But they taste so good.
And they're fat-free, see?
Fat-free? Ooh.
Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats. Surprise, they're good for you.
You see it your way. I see it mine.
Hi, I'm Barbara Mandrell, looking for the Visa tag. Here it is on clothes made from Visa, America's freedom fabric. Visa of Dacron releases stains. So if you love that freedom, look for the Visa tag, America's freedom fabric.
You get extra flavor, extra fun, in extra sugar-free dough.
Extra with NutraSweet has extra fresh flavor that lasts an extra, extra, extra long time. Extra lasts extra long.
The wife he thought was dead.
Marlena's alive.
The woman
who taught him to love again.
What happened to us?
I don't know. The man who's caught in the middle.
Nobody understands loving Roman more than I do. I'm gonna move out of the house.
Who will he choose? Days of Our Lives on NBC.
We enjoy making improvements to our home. Last year, we put in a new kitchen. The year before, a wood deck. But this year, we made the smartest investment of all. New Sash windows. New Sash has a reputation we could count on. Grandma! And now I have time for the more important things in life.
Animals and All That Jazz is going on at the Indianapolis Zoo, Thursdays in August.
We're back now on a closer look, continuing our conversation about how to deal with the death of a pet. Bonnie Mater, you run a pet loss hotline. Before this program, I have to honestly admit that I had no idea that there was counseling available for someone who loses a pet, or even a hotline established.
That's right. Well, it's a fairly new field. It's about 10 years old, and more people, mental health professionals, are getting involved. There are support groups. There's individual counseling available. And a couple of years ago, at the University of California Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, we have the Pet Loss Support Hotline. It's staffed by veterinary students. So the veterinary profession is becoming very, very sensitive to this whole human-animal bond and the importance of animals. So these students are staffing this hotline and providing support and learning how to comfort people.
Annette, do you imagine that you may go through some kind of counseling like this? Is it something that you considered?
Like I said, I really don't think I need it because the people that I work with understand, and I'm able to talk. I talk about it. I don't keep it inside. So I don't think I personally need counseling.
What about a friend who say a friend of Annette's, who really doesn't know how to express their sorrow for Annette? What should they do? Is there something? I know that you brought a couple of bereavement cards along with you. I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that they're out there.
Well, actually, that's true. But we are in a society that doesn't really understand mortality and death, whether it be a companion animal or a human being, and we're very awkward about expressing our sympathies. So something like a card like this, Hallmark makes cards.
Well, that's interesting. Here you have, a Hallmark in the loss of your pet. It's very specialized. That you can send this to a friend who's lost it, and then I'm sure that these are through veterinarians.
Yes,
who have some of these in their offices, so that if you don't know what to say, if you don't know how to explain that kind of sorrow, that it may be a good idea to send.
Basically, the nice thing to say is just that you're sorry. If you don't know anything else to say, that you're sorry and really mean it from your heart. But saying something like you can get another animal or you can get another Siamese that looks just like the Siamese you lost, that's very insulting because you don't say that to a woman who's lost, or a father, a mom, or a dad who's lost a child, a human child.
Joyce, I'm sorry, Joyce, I understand that you went through counseling when Ruffian died, and now you're going through it again.
Right. Well, now I'm going through more to deal with my anger and then the grief.
Okay. All right. As we take a break now, here are some telephone numbers you might find helpful. A closer look returns after this.
This is my favorite white shirt. Did I say white? I meant off-white. Beige is a good color. Clay. Pattern with Buddy.
The truth is, if you're not using Clorox,
no taupe,
you're not wearing white. Cheddar cheese. It turns tortilla chips into hot, delicious nachos. But take away the cheddar.
Hey, bring that back.
And you're stuck with plain tortilla chips.
No way, Jose.
So pile on the cheddar.
All right.
Because tasty cheddar makes everything better.
If you're using non-aspirin pain relievers, you should know about Bear Plus. Bear Plus has Bear Aspirin for powerful pain relief and Stomach Guard to help prevent stomach upset. So bang pain back with Bear Plus. Tough on pain, gentle on your stomach.
It's fresh. Deli Select from Hillshire Farm. Lean cuts of premium meats. Deli sliced thin. Deli packed for freshness. Deli Select from Hillshire Farm. Delicious.
It's fresh.
This summer, take the long way home. Run through a sprinkler. Relax with a good old-fashioned taste of country time lemonade. And take summer slowly, one sip at a time.
The Hartsdale Pet Cemetery in New York is the nation's oldest. It was opened before the turn of the century. Funeral director Ed Martin takes us now on a grand tour.
The Hartsdale Canine Cemetery was started in 1896, shortly after Dr. Samuel Johnson permitted many of his pet owners to come to the cemetery and bury their pet animals. The cemetery, which we believe to be the oldest pet cemetery in the world, is called the Canine Cemetery simply because the first pet that was buried here was a dog. However, the cemetery buried then and still does now pets of all different types. Most of the pets are dogs and cats, but monkeys, birds, rabbits, guinea pigs are also among the pets that are buried at the cemetery. The War Dog Monument was erected in 1923. It was erected in honor of those dogs who served in World War I on both sides, both the American and the German side. Prince is a descendant of Rin Tin Tin and was buried here about 10 years ago, as you can see by the stone. While Hartsdale is not permitted to bury human beings, once they are cremated, they can have their ashes buried with their pet. One of the more unusual pets that are buried at the cemetery is Goldfleck, a young lion cub who died in 1912 while on tour of the United States with her mistress, Princess Arjui of Hungary. Some celebrities have buried their pets here at the cemetery. Joe Garagiola, George Raft, and Kate Smith, who sang God Bless America, chose to bury her pet here in 1953. The mausoleum is the largest monument at the cemetery, and Mignon Stone we believe to be the oldest, erected in 1900.
And Annette's dog Pepper is buried there as well. A closer look continues after this.
Well, Julie, I'm ready for volunteer work. What should I do first? Well, would you like to bring a little chair to room 315? Sure. Room 315! Room 315! Go! Room 315!
Maybe you should just watch Nurses Saturdays on NBC.
Nurses, part of the Saturday lineup this fall on NBC.
That's it for us today. On a closer look, I want to thank everyone for joining me, Joyce Wolf, Michael Bachman, Annette Kristoff, and Bonnie Mader. Tomorrow, are young girls or teenage girls getting too aggressive with boys? Or are they just getting rid of an old doubled standard? We'll hear from some girls who say there's nothing wrong with calling boys for a date. And from some parents who say it wasn't like this when I was young. We'll also get some advice for kids and their parents about where to draw the line. That's tomorrow on A Closer Look. We'll see you then.
A Closer Look is a production of